Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
Episode 101 is starting with a wonderful guest. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have the wonderful Nicole joining us, who is just an incredible human being and awesome client at CrossFit Max. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear her story. And with that being said, let's get into it. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. We're in it. And we got a wonderful guest with us today. A client of the gym. Nikki is joining me. Hello, Nikki.
Hello, guys.
Are you excited for this episode?
I'm shitting my pants. I've been shitting my pants all week. I've been telling my father-in-law, my boyfriend, I was like, I'm going on this podcast. It's going to be fun. It's really out of my comfort zone. And they're like, oh, just like go in, have fun, like just talk, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, but I was always that kid in the presentations. I would never raise my hand. I was always the one in the quiet. And
gotcha.
So we're
Well,
very
here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So that being said, this is definitely your first podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And we even mentioned it in our previous podcast that just throwing a microphone in someone's face and saying talk throws you off.
Yeah. So I'm listening to Susie's advice to make out with this microphone right now.
Yes. That'll be kind of the ongoing joke that anytime we have a guest, you must be real close to the mic. But I'm excited to have you today. As usual, I have zero game plan. So we're going to just get to know you in this episode.
Great.
There's obviously one topic that, we wanted to discuss, and we're going to discuss that later. But before we get into the topic, I want to discuss a little banter topic.
Okay.
And I want to know, I like to ask this question to the members here, what is your favorite CrossFit exercise?
Okay, so I knew you were going to ask this question.
Ah, darn.
I had a feeling. I was like, if ever he asks, I need to be mentally prepared. So honestly, I feel like wall balls are my favorite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Susie would have loved that answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I was like, not pull-ups, not thrusters. And I was like, there has to be something that like I really like. And I was like, wall ball day. I'm always excited for wall ball day. I make sure that the day the wall balls are there, I'm like, that's it. I have to be there for that day. I don't know.
Okay. What about the wall ball do you enjoy?
I just feel like it targets so many different muscles, and you're not just focusing on like your upper, your lower. You're focusing on everything as a whole. It's a whole movement in itself. So I don't know. There's something.
I love that answer because that's what we do in CrossFit. We do a little bit of lower body, a little bit of upper body, combination of them both with some heavy breathing as well. So that was a pretty good answer. All right, that was a quick one, but I actually have another one.
Okay.
We're going to discuss the open for you.
Oh, okay.
Because we have now officially completed the open. We did our last Friday Night Lights a couple days ago.
Yeah.
How are you feeling after doing your second year, right?
Yep.
Second year of the CrossFit Open.
So I was definitely more nervous this year. I feel like because listening to your podcast with Susie, you're like, there's a very big jump. You'll notice like a very big milestone between your first and your second. So I was like, hey, like I really need to like up my game for my first one, considering my first one, I was only like, I think like 3-4 months into CrossFit.
Yeah, you were new, yeah.
Yeah, and my first open, I lifted my first like 35-pound dumbbell, and I was like, wow, whoa, what was that? And this
now you're
year,
slinging that 50-pound dumbbell around.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this time too, I was like, chest to bars, I don't know. I ended up getting 10 chest to bars.
Woohoo! Were those also your first chest to bars?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah. So the last one I think was my favorite, Ashley, and a lot of people have told me like this is a very Nicole type of workout. Like it's a very like wall walks, you're great, don't worry about them. So I actually had my list coach me I was like, judge me. And I was like, hey, I need you to go like hard. Like you tell me like 1, 2, 3, get your ass moving. I need that little push. So she did great. I was hoping to finish. I didn't. But
where did you end up? For those who know what the workout is, a bunch of wall walks, and then you had a barbell or a rower in between all the stuff. It's a really long one, but for those who know, go check it out. Where did you finish?
I finished on my last wall walks. I was 3 short of finishing, and
Nice.
I would have had my last row to do.
Gotcha.
But I told myself during it, I looked at her, I said, I'm not finishing this. And I said, okay, mentally, I just need to finish these snatches, finish the cleans, finish the deadlifts, and I'll be happy with whatever my mark is.
Okay.
So,
Where do you know it's Monday morning right now? So the official results haven't been tallied up on a worldwide basis. But right now, do you know where you are percentile wise?
Not yet.
Do you have your phone with you?
I do.
Let's check. Because I'm kind of curious to know, where did you finish last year versus where did you finish this year? Because I always tell people the first year is the unknown, right? Oh, you're going to show it to me. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll tell the people here. So let me pull you. So right now you're sitting in the 65th percentile worldwide, and that typically goes down a little bit as we get closer to the deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if that drops maybe by 1, probably max 2 percentile now, because we're only a few hours away. And interesting enough, so I'll go back to what I was saying. The first year is always the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into. You're probably newer into CrossFit. Sometimes people take a few years to convince them, but you took only a couple months before you jumped in, which I love that. So the first year is this unknown. You're not really sure what you're getting yourself into. You're new to CrossFit. You hit it. You put a score, which could be scary. You're throwing yourself into a worldwide category.
Yeah.
And the second year is always the most fun because you have something to compare to.
Yep.
Now, second year, I'm looking at your thing. You're at the 65th percentile worldwide, which is quite an accomplishment so far. And maybe that might drop to 64, maybe 63. I'm not sure. But wow, I'm looking at your 2024 finishing percentile. Do you want to guess where you were at? Do you know where you were or no?
50 something.
So
you're going to tell me I'm lower.
2024, you were in the 49th percentile, right? So that's a huge, huge boost.
Yeah.
That's like a 15% boost in your performance on a worldwide basis. That's pretty massive. You should be pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
And the reason I say it might just drop 1%, for those OG listeners, for you guys who have been doing CrossFit for a while, they have a new system in place where before the athletes would submit their score, you guys would have until Monday night to do that, and they would be like pending your scores.
Yep.
And then all the affiliates would go in throughout the weekend, and we had until Tuesday night, I believe it was Tuesday night or maybe even Wednesday morning, to confirm or validate, everyone's score. This year they did something different, which I thought was interesting, and everyone's score is validated automatically when you put it in. And as the affiliate, I have to go in and make sure that all your scores are correct. And I can still reject them if they're wrong. But that being said, so you might not drop that much. You might stick around that 65th, 64 percentile, because every score that's already been submitted has already been validated. Yep. And it's unlikely that people are going to get like rejected and put in better scores. It's probably going to be the opposite, you know? So it might drop just from, people still doing the open today, but not by much. So that's pretty freaking awesome. Yeah.
I was very proud of myself.
What are your takeaways from this open? Maybe you can sum it up in maybe like 2 or 3.
My takeaways?
Yeah. Do you have any? No, number one, let's talk about like performance. How do you feel about your performance?
So my first one, I felt like I did pretty good.
Yeah.
I ended up getting to round 7, which was like the 21, 24 range.
Okay.
The second one, I was kind of like, the chest to bars, I don't know. I was kind of psyching myself out. I wish I had that better like mindset to say like, look, you're going to go, you're going to do it, you do your best, and like that's it. But I was kind of like, I know I'm going to get stuck at the chest to bars. I don't have them yet. I had been preparing beforehand my double unders, and I was like, yes, let's do double unders. It's going to be there. And it was obviously the one thing that was not there. Because that's where I struggled with last year. And so the chest to bars, I was like, okay, you're not going to do it. And then I ended up getting like 1. And I remember Daphne looking at me like, you got it. And I was like, I don't know. Did it touch? Did it not touch? And feeling that vibe from everybody screaming, like, you got it, you go. And then like getting that like cheering. And I was like, okay, I did it. I got it. So my second one, I was kind of like, meh. But then the third one... You
should still be pretty pumped. First chest to bar, followed by 10 more. Like, that's pretty darn good, you know?
Yeah. I just wish I had that mindset to say, like, you can do it. You'll do it. You did... Your first open, you did 35 pounds. Like, you got this. You think you should tell yourself, like, you can. If I don't do it, it's okay. But
wow, do you guys hear that? She can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. I think I told you, Brandon, I can't. And you're like, don't use that C word with me, Nicole. And I was like, I know.
She knows, and everyone listening knows. One rule in this gym, never allowed to use the word can't.
Yeah.
So kind of similar to like what Susie was discussing about her bar muscle up. And, for you, that was the chest to bar pull up.
Yep.
And for other people, that was the pull up. Right. So there's a lot of people that did their firsts followed by a few more. Right. So yeah, if I were to take away from your open, For sure. Like that is a massive increase in performance. 15% is huge. But also I would say that it's a testament of the amount of work you've put in. And we'll talk about this in this podcast here, but the amount of work that you've put in throughout the year, things like athletic performances don't happen by accident.
No.
You know, it's not like, oh, I just woke up one morning and I just decided I was going to crush this workout and kill it. You know, that's not how CrossFit works. That's not how any sort of athletic endeavor happens, right? So the fact that you put in like a lot of work and you are ultra consistent this year, and I think the result just speaks for itself. So that was pretty cool from a coaching standpoint to view that. And I'm proud of you. So you should feel proud of yourself.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
I'm very proud.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about you. All right.
Okay.
Let's give the people maybe like a 60-second or maybe a 2-minute brief description or background of who you are, what you do, family, etc.
Okay. So I'm 25. I've been an animal health technician for about 4 years now. I recently just switched jobs too, which was a big thing for me. I was right across the street, and I was actually talking to Vanessa about this earlier, how my demeanor has changed so much, wanting to come to the gym more since I've actually changed jobs.
Oh, okay.
Being right across the street, I was kind of like, I'm just so tired from my day. Like, I'm exhausted mentally, physically. Like, I just don't want to do anything. I just want to go home and veg and do nothing. But since changing my jobs, it's been a lot of like a environment change, the people change. It's a lot more friendly. It's a lot more like energetic. Not to diss my other job. I love my people at my other job. It's a very different environment. Like coming now, I worked at DeCarry for a few months. So coming here to the gym, I was driving. I'm like, hey, listen to your music, pump yourself up. You got this. You're going to do it. You're going to do great.
And for those of you guys who are not in this area, that's a decent drive away. It's not a close distance.
It'd take me about an hour to get here from DeCarry.
Yeah.
So compared to right across the street.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just want people to know that distance and that commitment from you.
Yeah. So now we just opened up the new location in Off Sources, so it's a lot closer, but still I tell myself, you're not close, but you're not far. Like, just go do your workout. You'll feel so much better. And I feel like I've mentally changed a lot since changing jobs.
Yeah. Family?
Family. I have divorced parents.
Okay.
Growing up as a kid, I played soccer a lot, and my dad would always be at every single game, whether it was here in Ontario, wherever it was. So my dad and I connected a lot over my soccer experience. I have a younger brother too, which he kind of fell in love with baseball, which is a very interesting sport.
Yeah.
But he's really into school right now, so.
Okay. And younger, I would imagine?
Yeah, 2 years younger.
2 years younger. Okay.
Yeah.
So still close in age.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. And boyfriend?
Boyfriend, yes.
He's going to listen to this. He's like, hey, where am I at?
Boyfriend, yes. We've been together now for 2 years. He's a big gym rat.
Okay.
Yeah. I've told him, come try. You'll like it. He's still like, oh, I need to work on my cardio. And I'm like, so come try CrossFit, you know? And he actually saw Justin's picture from the O lifting.
Okay.
And he's like, this guy looks like a tank. I said, yeah, Justin's actually mentioned he wants to work out with you. This is a big reason why you should come, you know?
Yeah.
But he's actually supported my change in doing CrossFit or whether I want to do soccer after my injury, the soccer and everything. So he's been very supportive of my progress.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big thing for me.
Well, thank you for opening up and telling everyone who you are.
Yeah.
Where should we start? We should start, I think, with your soccer. Let's start with that first, okay? Because we want to talk, you just mentioned your injury.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your background of sports. Did you just play soccer growing up? And I say just, I mean, people who play soccer can play at a higher level and commit their entire life to that. Just like I've committed most of my life to basketball and now to CrossFit, right? So it's not, when I say just, I mean that single sport, right? So did you play other sports or was it, how did you find soccer?
So I was a very athletic kid.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did skating for about a year. It's a very weird.
Susie did figure skating as well, yeah.
I did skating. I tried swimming. I actually did something called pancration, which is like a Greek martial arts thing for a few years.
Ooh, watch out.
Yeah.
Don't piss off Nikki.
So at one point, I even tried gymnastics, and I was like, it's not my thing. There's just something missing. I don't know what it is. It was fun, but I was like, there's something.
Were you like a certain age when you were trying all these different things out, or was it kind of like throughout your childhood, teenage years?
So my gymnastics, skating, and all that was a bit younger. I think I had originally started soccer at maybe 10. So I want to say it was about that age. And then I said soccer was my thing. I loved it. My family came so close with the friends, like my friends' parents and stuff like that. We'd go to pools together and stuff like that. So we kind of grew up with that childhood, like with after school stuff and things. And then I started martial arts with a friend of mine. And then at one point my parents were like, hey, you have to pick it, soccer or pancreation. I was like, soccer definitely has my heart. So we're going to go down that road.
Okay.
So I did soccer from 10 to, I want to say like 3-4 years ago now.
Which is like what, like, so 10 to, and you said you're 25 right now?
25,
yeah. So like good 12 years almost of playing that sport. That's a decent chunk of time.
Yeah. So I did that.
Did you play at a school level, a city level? What teams did you play on?
Yeah, so I actually played competitive.
All of them.
I actually played competitive for quite a long time. And then my last few years I was in like the seniors competitive.
Seniors, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So and then
what stopped you from playing soccer? Was it the injury? Was it that specific moment, or did you had an injury? You try to go back and you were not feeling it?
So after my injury, I actually tried to go back.
Yeah.
I had to wear like this big hefty knee brace for all my games.
Okay.
And then I just feel like mentally I was like, I'm so scared to injure myself. What if I hurt my other knee? Or like, what if I get another injury and I don't want to feel that thing anymore? And it was just mentally like I was not in the game as much as I should have been or would have been. Or with my friends too, you can kind of see they kept looking at me like, are you okay? And I was like, this is not how I kind of want to finish my career, as being so scared of having the ball close to me or stuff like that. So I actually had played I played guys and girls with actually my boyfriend and my brother-in-law and all that. And I was just kind of like, I don't know, I just mentally can't do this anymore. And it was hard on my knee and it was hard on mentally. So I kind of said like, I think this is where I'm going to call it.
So tell the audience what happened to your knee.
Yeah. So I think it's actually coming up on its anniversary in April.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was in the middle of a soccer game and actually my dad was there. Thank God he was there, because I just remember playing on the field. I remember looking up at the ball and I just blocked out.
Okay, so you don't even remember
anything.
Yeah.
No. I remember being on the ground and just screaming, crying. Just the pain in my knee was just excruciating.
What happened? So like what was the actual injury?
Yeah, so I completely tore my ACL.
Yikes.
And I had a femur pressure fracture.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so she was pretty big.
My insides just kind of ouch.
Yeah, so that happened, and I remember my coach taking me off the field, and I was like, my coach name was Mark, and I was like, Mark, there's just something there's wrong, like.
So did you like walk off the field or try it?
No.
Oh, okay, got you. Like, okay, so you were carried off the field.
Yeah, he was.
And then I'm assuming your dad explained to you what happened. Did someone like slide tackle you? Did you step in a twist? Like what happened?
I think that I was trying to take the ball to my feet, but somehow my knee kind of just went one way and my body went the other way, and it kind of just like, I remember hearing like a snap, like an elastic snap.
Yeah, that would be your ACL.
Yeah. And so my coach took me off the field and I stood there for the rest of the game. We actually ended up losing. It was a finals game.
Oh no, brutal.
So my dad drove me home, and the next day I looked at my mom. I said, I think it's something really bad. Like, it's everybody's, like, every soccer athlete's worst nightmare is to say it's your ACL. So you didn't even like go to the doctor or hospital. No. You're like, yeah, this freaking hurts right now. Like, can I have some Advil or something? Like, what, did you take some medication? I ended up going home actually, and I was like, should I have gone to the hospital? Like, I don't know. And I was like, I fractured like my toe before. I've hurt this, I've hurt that. Like, I'll be fine. Yeah. And I remember telling work, I actually texted, I said, hey, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I think this is pretty serious. So I ended up going to the physio the next day, and I told them like I needed like an emergency like physio, and then get there, and he kind of looks at me and he's like, I have really bad news to tell you. And that's like every...
That elastic thing that you heard snap, yeah, it is snapped.
Yeah.
It's gone.
I was like...
You need to go to the doctor.
Yeah, and I was like, let's hope it's like a partial, or I didn't hear it properly, or something else, like somebody was playing with elastic or something. I was kind of telling myself, like, you're hopeful, it'll be fine. And he told me, he's like, it's a full tear. And I did an MRI and they confirmed it.
Tell the listeners what that process is like to come back, because that is a major injury. It's not fracturing your leg is extremely painful. You throw a cast on. After a few weeks, you can take that cast off, and you kind of, you have to regain the strength in the bone and the muscles around and everything, and it's a process. But tearing your ACL is a full lengthy process. So tell them like what you had to go through in terms of recovery for the ACLs. So you had surgery?
Nope.
No surgery?
No surgery.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I actually fell in love with one of the physios there, and I stuck with her, and she was kind of saying that their new game plan, if you want to say, is now that they don't do surgery.
Okay.
They want to kind of reinforce the other ligaments and the muscles around it to kind of help compensate it for a way. So she tells me I was very lucky that I didn't tear like my meniscus or my MCL or anything like that. But I'm like, am I really that lucky? I tore an ACL. But yeah, I feel so lucky, and I have a pressure fracture.
Yeah. Like I can't step on my leg right now, but
Yeah. So she was swollen for quite a bit. Even walking to the bathroom was a very big struggle, going on crutches, hopping on one leg, and it was mentally hard because I had to stop working for a good amount of time.
Did you have anything? Did you have to wear like a support on the knee? Did you have to wear? So you said you had to use crutches.
Yep.
Did you have anything else on the knee, or it's just normal?
It's
just
normal.
hanging there.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
normal with
Okay.
a lot of ice.
Yeah, gotcha. And you can't put any pressure on it. Gotcha.
So I started doing physio just to kind of even bend my toes a little bit, kind of move my ankle a little bit. So it was very mentally challenging to say, like, I can't even go to the bathroom. Like, I was like running around like a few hours before, and now I can't even walk to the bathroom. So I thank God that I had the good support system that I did to kind of help me. So my boyfriend was a very big help, like kind of telling me, okay, let's go do your physio. And I didn't want to some days. I just kind of wanted to just cry in a hole and never come out.
Yeah.
But he'd tell me like, let's go, or he'd be there, and I said like, can I get an ice pack? He'd run upstairs, grab me an ice pack. My mom too, bring me to my physio appointments, brought me to my MRI appointment, because you definitely need an MRI to confirm. MRIs are very scary. I've learned that as well. The noising and everything.
That's the machine you sit in that big tube?
Yeah. So you kind of go in, and she was like, my first time doing it, and she was like, it's going to sound very like,
yeah.
And I was like, okay, like it can't be that bad. And oh my God, sitting in that tube
How
and
long?
not having a lot of space. I think it was about like 30 minutes to 40 minutes.
Oh, wow. You're sitting in that like nothing.
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
Yeah. You sit there still, and if you move, you have to restart. And I was
You
like,
play some music or something? Like
I think she told me to bring like ear pods and stuff like that,
Okay.
AirPods, but you still hear that loud sound in the
Yeah.
background, and you have
Okay.
to take off all your jewelry and stuff like that. It's a very intense process.
For sure. And then how many days a week were you doing physio, or let's say maybe how many days a month were you doing physio? How
So,
was that looking like?
I'm actually still doing physio to this day.
Yeah.
I'm actually seeing her tomorrow.
Okay.
Speak of the devil. I was doing it, I think, at least once a week for a few months. And then she kind of switched it up every week to kind of say like, okay, where are you at now and stuff like that? Where can we improve on? So I remember actually telling her I need to start moving again. So she said, okay, let's get you a brace and let's try soccer again. And she said, you can't be scared. The more you're scared, the more you're gonna re-injure yourself or hurt something else. And I said, like, is surgery an option? I met with an orthopedic surgeon, and he had said, look, he's like, if you want, we can do the surgery, but he's like, I need you to understand that the recovery time is going to be a lot harder than the actual injury itself. And he's like, I can if you want, but he's like, I don't recommend it in your case. So he's like, if you're not playing soccer anymore, if you want to play like just at a low level and stuff like that. So I said, okay, let's try without it. And honestly, I'm happy that I actually didn't do the surgery.
Gotcha. So for a few months, once a week at least.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then now, fast forward, how long ago did that happen? 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
I want to say three years ago in April, or 4 years ago in April, because I think I'd been here almost 2 years. So I think I was a few years away, so maybe 3 years now.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah. And that brings you to CrossFit Max.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when you came in with your friends, you were a referral from Ashley, I believe.
Yep.
So our good client Ashley worked with you. I guess she doesn't work with you anymore, but
Yep.
she worked with you
Yep.
for a good chunk of time. And she brought you and Tara over.
Tara, yeah.
And Tara's still a client here. Shout out to her. And she, and then I remember you coming in with a big old brace on your knee.
Yep.
Explaining the situation, telling us that you had gone through that injury. And yeah, so what got you into CrossFit, Max, besides just Ashley saying that she loved it? Was there videos you saw? What were the reasons to get you in here?
So I kind of had done CrossFit. My soccer team had actually done like exercises on the side. So I think we've done like gym. We did CrossFit a few times, but not like how we do it here. I felt like it was a very like easy peasy one.
Was it officially CrossFit or was it just like boot camp style?
I want to say it was like a boot camp style,
Yeah,
but it's been a minute. So actually coming off of that, I restarted work after a few months and I was only able to answer the phone. I wasn't able to pick up big dogs. I was very limited on some things. And I kind of said, like, I can't do soccer anymore. I need to find something else. Like, I need that activity because I've grown up with having like a sport or the gym or something like that. And I was actually at a personal trainer before coming here, even before my injury. And I was kind of like, I need like a class. Like, I need a motivator or something. So I remember talking to Ashley and she was like, oh, it's right across the street. Why don't you come try? I really like it. And I said like, okay. And I actually had never seen any videos.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like talking to people now, they kind of say like, oh, I've seen your videos and it's so intimidating. Like, I don't know if I can do CrossFit. I actually have a girl I work with who was like, oh, like I can't do that. And I was like, it's a very different like stage on where I'm at now versus where I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't even able to pick up like a barbell at one point, and now I can lift like a barbell in 25, let's say, like it's a very different progress on where I'm at. So Ashley had told me like, let's try. So I ended up doing my foundation classes with Tara. And I kind of said like, okay, like let's try this. Like, I think it's going to be good for me. I ended up falling in love with it. And now here I am like 5-6 times a week. Yeah,
you are crushing it. Yeah. So that's definitely something we should discuss. Like the amount of frequency you've like just dedicated yourself to this. Obviously it's cool. Just like myself, going from that sport background, having that, soccer is very competitive. You played at a higher level. So that itch to compete, not necessarily against other people, but in CrossFit, it's very much this, like, I want to do better myself. I want to lift more weights. And so I like to paint the picture for people who have never done CrossFit before. Think of CrossFit like this competitive thing where it's you versus other people and there's this leaderboard. And it's not like that. Think of it like a team sport where you're all on the same team. You have in soccer, you have your defense, you have your people on attack, you have your goalie and everything. Like everyone's on their own zone, and you guys are all doing your own thing in the gym and lifting what you can lift and performing as best as you can because you want everyone around you to do better. So it's really cool to see how frequent and you've dedicated yourself to this because at the beginning there was the foundations, and then what did you start with after that? Because you weren't super dedicated right away.
I think I had started with 2 times per week.
Yeah, exactly. How long did the 2 times per week last? I don't remember it lasting that long.
No, I think I had upped it to 3
pretty quickly. Yeah. And then eventually, maybe a few months later, you upped it to unlimited, and then like the last. So you said you've been here for 2 years now, or almost 2 years?
It's
not quite 2 years.
2 years in October or November.
Okay, so about a year and a half, right? So how long would you say you've been doing like at least 5 days a week here?
Maybe about a year.
About a year now? Yeah, I would say that's probably about accurate from my memory.
I think I had done unlimited depending on my work hours, because my work hours were very unstable and seeing how it goes. I had done like maybe unlimited, but I did like 4 times a week for a little bit, and now I'm doing more 5 times a week. Yeah,
and even going back to your previous points before, where you switched jobs, you felt like that was a big decision for your career, and one of the first things you had told us, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to make it work. Like, I'm going to be no longer across the street. You also live far from the gym. It's not like Nicole over here is next to the gym and she's traveling to work, which is now a lot further, and then she's coming back in this direction. Like, she lives in Laval, which is like what, 30 minutes away from here? If there's no traffic, maybe
20 without traffic.
20 without traffic. Sometimes and oftentimes there could be traffic,
Yeah.
right? So about 20-ish minutes away from the gym. Used to work literally 100 to 200 meters across the street from us. Now has moved, like you said, could take an hour to get here with traffic and everything. Without traffic, how long does it take, roughly? 30-ish minutes, but I feel like there's always traffic in that area regardless.
Always traffic. Yeah. The times I finish at 2 coming, or even in the morning, I'm like, okay, let's do it. Listen to my podcast with you and Susie, or listen to music. Let's pump us up. And
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
You know what? Since I've actually moved really close to the gym, I've been falling short on my podcast listens because I don't have that commute anymore.
That's true.
So yesterday I had like a decent drive and I was listening to a podcast in the car and I was like, this is kind of nice. I kind of miss it. Although I really enjoy being able to walk to work now.
Yeah.
But that being said, I just want to credit you because at the beginning, when you made that career shift, you're like, I don't know how it's going to work. I might have to like, first thing is decrease the frequency that I come here. And then you didn't.
Yeah.
You just like stay dedicated.
Yeah.
You've been ultra consistent. And I think that is, again, a testament of your huge open performance, right? But not just that. Your overall fitness level, all the things that you said, people when they start here are at vastly different points of their life. You know, you have so many, over a decade of playing soccer at a high level. Well, that's going to transfer over that cardiovascular system that you've built, that base of cardio that you have to get into CrossFit is still going to be there. Although you've had your injury and everything, you know what it's like to sprint. You know what it's like to run several kilometers in a 90-minute game. Versus there are people that have never exercised in their life and they walk into CrossFit and they're right next to you in the group class. Right? They're lifting less weights than you. Sometimes people are lifting more weights than you and you're like, where's this strength coming from, you know? And that's the beauty about CrossFit is I can have that 70-year-old woman who just wants to be able to pick herself up if she falls on the ground, right? And be as independent as possible for as long as she possibly can. Or I can have this 25-year-old like ex-soccer girl come in who's had a pretty major injury and has just like committed herself to doing this, and you guys are right next to each other. So I always find it so interesting when you try to tell your friends, try to tell your boyfriend, like, hey, like, how do I get these people in here? I was once like you, and then you're gonna build and you're gonna love it just as much as I'm gonna do it. And you don't have that answer, and I don't even have that answer. That's actually the answer that I'm always seeking to try to give to people to sign up. But it is really cool to see like how dedicated you've been throughout the process. Going back to your injury, first few conversations we had, you were obviously very timid with your knee, rightfully so. And I don't remember how long it was, but I think when you started to up your frequency, then you started taking your knee brace off. And I think your knee brace was more of like a security blanket.
So I think mentally I needed that.
Yes.
Just to say, my physio had actually told me if I'm doing any sharp turns to have that knee brace. So anytime I had shuttle runs or anything like that, I put it on. I think also mentally I needed that. Yeah. I did have a few workouts later on after I started that I just had like a little flimsy knee brace. But I think even when I did that partner workout here with Thomas, I had that knee brace. I think it was just like a mental thing to say, okay, you're stable, you're good, you can do the heavy weights, you're good. Yeah. But actually my physio has told me to this day that CrossFit has actually helped my knee significantly, and I feel like that was a good motivation for me too. She's like, you need to like start moving, like even frequent walks. I remember after my injury I was actually just doing like little 5-minute sprints at a time with Andy actually, and he was kind of like, hey, let's go. Like
Andy being your boyfriend.
Yeah, sorry. With my boyfriend Andy, I remember like doing little sprints, and I was like, oh, this is so mentally like hard. Like I just want to run, I just want to be free, you know. And so I remember,
I don't know why, I just picture like Forrest Gump. Like this knee thing, just trying to run, and they all the knee thing flies off. For real.
Honestly, I felt like that.
Run, Nikki, run.
Yeah. The first time without it, I was like, it's expanding off my leg, you know, into the wind. But so she had told me that CrossFit has actually significantly helped my knee, and I remember seeing her last month, and I'm still at a block of doing like one-legged jumps like side to side, like laterally. And she's like, just try it like for fun. And she ended up looking at me and she's like, whoa, like I would have never guessed you actually ever tore your ACL or had like a pressure fracture,
that's
you know?
cool.
And so I felt like that was a big motivation to keep saying like, hey, CrossFit has actually helped me mentally, physically, and I feel like I need to keep it up.
Wow.
And actually go more.
Yeah. And I had that conversation with you early because when someone goes through a major injury, a couple things happen. Number one, not necessarily purposely, but oftentimes we have been favoring one side. We'll use your body, your situation as the example here. So it was the right knee?
My left knee.
Left knee.
Yep.
So left knee goes out. So Nikki, I'm seeing her do her favorite exercise, the wall ball.
Yeah.
And I remember taking a video. I don't know if you remember that,
Yep.
but me showing a video of you like shifting hard on the right side. Like you are squatting into the bottom of the squat, shifting to the right. But more than that, you're also like bringing the medicine ball in your right side in your hands, right? So whether you were doing that purposely or not, some cases you are. Some cases you're like, I'm like a little nervous to go on that left knee. But also your body, is just naturally trying to protect that knee because for X amount of months you had to walk on crutches and you had to lean onto the left leg and you couldn't put any pressure on the right. So there's a couple things that we need to do is make sure that you're equally balancing yourself on both legs, making sure you're not compensating on one side and just overloading your strong side. So there was a few conversations that we had at the beginning. It's like, hey, this exercise is very safe for your knee. We're not doing any twisting, jerking motions. Your feet are planted right now. Barbells in your front rack position. We're squatting down. There's no twisting going on. We need to make sure that we are thinking about staying as centered as possible. And if that cue doesn't work for you, then we need to make sure we're actually shifting onto the left side. And then all of a sudden, oh, look, Nikki's now centered. Right? So I remember having a lot of those conversations with you about making sure that we do strengthen the other side and also trying to build that mental confidence of saying, hey, I know like what you've gone through is pretty severe, but you're okay now. You're developing the strength right now. We're in a safe environment. No one's kicking a ball at you. There's no holes in the ground that you might twist. There's no fast knee jerk reaction thing that's going to go on. Like you said, like the most sort of twisting that you might do is in a shuttle run. And in a shuttle run, like it's a pretty, the distance is so short that you're not actually doing like a hard sprint. You're doing like a 10-meter shuttle run where you can't really sprint that hard. You have to get to a kind of slow motion turn. And I remember even talking to you, I don't know if you remember that, but about like learning how to shift your body weight as well, rather than like planting your leg in and then twisting off that and like physically moving your hips over and your whole body. So those are really cool conversations that I had with you during that process. And it is cool because now you've started the Olympic lifting program, our lift lab here, and you are lifting huge amounts of weights right now.
I'm trying.
It's
very scary still, but
For sure. Anytime we throw a barbell overhead, it could be scary. But how do you feel your body has now reacted after now almost like doing about a year and a half into it? Now that the physio has kind of said like, hey, it's kind of cool. Your leg is looking pretty strong. I wouldn't have known that you had this major injury. How do you feel mentally after doing a year and a half of, pretty intense CrossFit?
I feel like it's kind of changed. I feel like still sometimes I'll kind of do movement and you'll like say like, hey, like how come your legs, if I'm doing like the split jerk, I'll notice like my legs are kind of like in a line and I'm like, it doesn't feel like that. I feel like I'm like, my legs on the other side of the world. Like I feel like I'm very different and or even lifting like anything above my knee, I'm kind of like, I don't know. And I'm like, no, you're good. It's okay. Like the ligament's not there. It's not going anywhere. It can't snap. It's done. And doing the High Rocks 2 this year with Ashley, it's a very big step for me.
So when is that? So you signed up for a partner High Rocks with Ashley. When is the date?
It's actually in May.
In May, coming up in about 2 months from now. All right.
So that'll be fun.
So for those of you guys who don't know what High Rocks is, High Rocks is what they're claiming to be the race of fitness. So there's a decent amount of running in there.
Yep. So we started with the half this year. See how it goes.
Yes. Remind people what is so there's 8 different stations. The row is a station. The ski is a station. Sled push, sled pull, lunges,
wall balls,
carry.
Yep. Farmer carry.
And then I'm forgetting one of the burpee broad jump.
Yes.
So there's 8 different stations, and in between and in those stations you get to, because you're doing a partner, you're doing a split shared work. You can split it however you want, I believe. But before every station, you have a distance to cover in the run, and you have to do that together.
Yep.
What is that distance?
I think I saw like a kilometer. Is that possible?
I believe so. The kilometer is the full one. So I'm not sure if you're doing the half or the full. You said you're doing the half, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, you guys are doing 500 meters. Okay. So 5 times 8 is 4 kilometers of running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I actually picked up a bit of running last summer with my boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I remember telling him like, okay, like let's just do like a little run, and he was into running too. And my mother-in-law actually wants to do that marathon, the fireman one you did last year.
Oh yeah, I did the 10K with Daphne last year.
Yeah. So
but is she gonna do
she wants to do the 5.
The 5K. Oh, cool.
She was like, oh, like, do you want to try with me? And I was like, yeah, let's try it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually doing that this year. But so that's why like wall ball dates is my favorite day, and I'm like, yes, I'm looking forward to those wall balls.
Okay. So are you gonna start picking up a little bit more running in the next couple months, because you are like 8 weeks away from the High Rocks, and you're going to have to be running 4 kilometers.
Yeah. So I
think doing a whole bunch of other shit too.
I think I want to get over the open.
Yeah.
And now to focus on it, like I'll try to pick up more running on the weekends or days I'm like on my rest days or I'm not here. Like I'll just run like a little bit.
It is getting much warmer out as well. We had our run club yesterday, and compared to like the week before where there had been a snowdrop, it was super slippery. And running yesterday at like 6-7 degrees weather, I was like, this is so nice.
Yeah. I actually bought my first pair of running shoes too, so I'm very excited.
Already you bought them?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I was telling Susie, I was like, I got to buy some new running shoes because I have my running shoes from last year and they're all wrecked and destroyed. So that's a good way to boost the motivation though.
Yeah.
When did you buy them?
I think January.
Okay.
Yeah. I was talking to Ashley, had sent me a picture of like these High Rocks Puma combination collab that they did.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, that looks pretty cool. And I remember going to look.
Did you guys buy the same one?
So I think they're somewhat similar, but not the same.
Not the same one.
I remember
that would have been kind of cute.
we were matching outfits.
Oh,
we were trying to pick a color and match outfits and stuff like that. So we're actually thinking like a pink or blue, but I was like, I don't know, maybe we'll just do full blue or. So we're in the midst of finding this uniform.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So we'll call it there. I feel like we got some solid information from you. Thank you so much for coming on. But before we go, you ready to do the pew, pew, pew?
Yeah.
We have client of the week.
Pew, 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 pew.
There we go. And this client is not coming from me. It's coming from Nikki. So Nikki, the floor is yours. I don't even know who this person is. So it's all you. I told you that you got to pick someone because you're on the episode today. So let them know. Who is the client of the week?
So I actually thought about this. And I was like, there's not just one client I want to name this week.
Oh, multiple clients.
Yeah. So I actually want to do the coaches this week.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I feel like you guys killed it on your opens. Susie got her first bar muscle ups. You and Susie actually finished your last one. Vanessa did great on her last one too. Daphne actually challenged herself on those deadlifts and she got through them. And I just felt like you guys were a big inspiration on the open this year and every day.
Nikki, you're making me blush here.
So I just feel like you guys put a lot of effort into the community, to your workouts and taking care of us and pushing us when we sometimes don't feel like it. So I just feel like it was your week this week.
Oh, wow. Nikki, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Did you listen to last week's episode?
Yes, I did.
Our 100th episode, and we kind of joked at the end. I don't know if you remember that, but we're like, we're the clients of the week. This is not fair because now we're actually clients of the week. Well, Nikki, that was really sweet of you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I say that we only work this hard because we have amazing people like you and such amazing community members, and it makes our job the best job in the world. Thank you for coming on and doing this stressful thing. I appreciate you opening up and letting us know about your life, your sport background, your CrossFit journey so far. How many CrossFit classes have you done? Do you know what your level system is right now?
Oh, I don't.
You don't even know.
No.
Would you say over or under 300?
Oh, under 300.
Under 300.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to you getting to that 300.
Yeah.
Maybe even that 400 mark.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how you do in your third open next year.
Yes.
And just keep being you, keep being awesome, keep being dedicated, keep encouraging the people around you. And we'll end it there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brandon.
We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
Bye.